Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me. I'm very pleased to be here. You're giving me the opportunity to speak about the Olympics in Paris next summer, as we are gathered here today to celebrate the International Day of Sport for Development and Peace. France places particular importance in sport. We promote its role to make progress in achieving the SDGs, in particular to advance climate and environmental action, gender equality, to make progress in health and education, especially for the youth. The video presented right now by the International Olympic Committee showcased great example in this regard. Sport is also a universal, inspiring language that brings people together and unites them, transcending borders, cultures. Therefore, it contributes to building more inclusive and peaceful societies. This year, of course, is particularly important for France as we will host the upcoming 2024 Summer Olympic and Paralympic Games in Paris over the summer, 100 years after having hosted it in our country already in 1924. The Games in Paris are intended to be a major celebration of sport and the Olympic values of excellence, friendship, and respect, with an emphasis on openness, accessibility, and social inclusion. France has set itself major ambition in terms of the legacy of the Games, in particular to strengthen the social impact of sport and improve the health and well-being of the population. Reflecting France's feminist diplomacy, we have set ourselves high ambitions for the Games in Paris in terms of gender equality, as it will be the first ever Olympic Games to achieve true gender parity among athletes competing. Reflecting our climate policy, we will aim to reduce the carbon emissions by half compared to previous editions by establishing mechanisms to track the footprint. Such features will be further presented by the Paris 2024 Organizing Committee in a few minutes. As host of the upcoming Games, France had the honor of holding the pen here in New York of the Olympic Truth Resolution in close collaboration with the International Olympic Committee, which was successfully adopted by the General Assembly last November. France reiterates its most sincere gratitude to the member state that supported and co-sponsored the resolution. This important text carries a universal message in favor of peace, reviving the ancient Greek tradition of the Olympic truth, or Ekecheria, and reflects the vision shared by many that sport is a powerful tool to promote sustainable development and peace. I will leave it now to Madame Marie Barsacq, Executive Director of Impact and Legacy of the Paris 2024 Organizing Committee, to further present to you, directly from Paris, the great ambitions of the Games in terms of sustainable impact and legacy. Thank you, Robert. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ambassador de Rivière. And now we will go directly to Madame Barsacq.
Ambassadors, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank you for your invitation. It is a great honor for me to speak in front of you today. I wish I could be with you in person, but as you can imagine, we are quite busy in Paris at the moment. The Games are being just in a few months. I think it's 112 days to be exact, so it's pretty short. While we are celebrating today the International Day of Sport for Development and Peace, we are also eager to start the celebrations in Paris. Although it is a topic of great importance, as you can imagine, celebration is not the only point of the agenda today. I am here to talk about another topic of great importance for us, the impact and the legacy of the Paris 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games. The ambassador just gave you a great overview of France's global ambition for sports and the Games, and the video presented by the International Olympic Committee gave an essential sense of the key messages today. To complement in introduction, I will present our strategy for Paris 2024, in strategy in which I drive this strategy. So at Paris 2024, we like to say that sport can change lives. It's our motto. It means that sport can bring solutions to all of challenges our societies are facing today. Since the beginning phase, and I was there at that time, this conviction has been at the very center of our strategy. To make this conviction a reality, we implemented several measures, which I will now present to you. More precisely, as I know it is a top priority for the United Nations, I will show how those actions will contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals. So let's begin with health and well-being. Combating sedentary lifestyles has been one of our key priorities and something we really want to leave in legacy in a long-term perspective after the Games. To do so, we adopted a strategy called Move More Strategy, aims to we promoted physical activity where people are. People are at school, they are at the office, at work, and they are in the city. We really promoted active design in all those areas. On this subject, we have one emblematic measure, which is called 30 minutes of daily physical activity at school. It has been implemented firstly as an experimentation around 10,000 schools in France, and now the government decided to implement this measure to all schools in France. It is very important because it means that our legacy is already on its way, and that this measure impacts all the kids of one generation of France. So it's quite important. And I would like to underline that we are very proud and we welcome the reference of this flagship initiative to the Olympic Truth Resolution as yes, it's a proudness for us. To continue with education, we also want to use sports and its value for educational and civic purposes. For example, every year we organize the Olympic and Paralympic Week in France. For us, it is a key moment to promote education through sports and to bring values of citizenships and sports into the classrooms. Last year, more than 1 million pupils and students were involved. And this year, it is right now this week, we already have 2 million of kids and students involved. So it's a great, great success already. And this Olympic and Paralympic Week will continue after the Games. As you know, Paris 2024 is also aims to promote inclusion and equality. In terms of inclusion, the goal is to foster a more inclusive society, of course, and especially for people with disability. To do so, we support 3,000 inclusive clubs in France, because as persons with disabilities, they encounter difficulties to have access to sports. And the idea was to create para-sports sections in ordinary clubs and where people with disability can come. And this strategy has been very successful because now the government is helping us to implement this project all around France. In terms of equality, the ambassador mentioned the fact that we are the first Games to achieve gender parity among athletes, which is great. But in addition, we also support projects which aim at removing the barriers faced by women to access to sports. For example, we develop a gender-neutral schoolyard for girls and boys to share the schoolyard in a more equal way, because in France, there is a terrible figures. 80% of the schoolyard is used by some boys who practice football. Sorry for UEFA, but we prefer that girls and boys play together and not only football. Concerning climate and environmental impact, it is also a priority for us. The ambassador talked about our ambition to have the carbon footprint of the Games compared with previous editions. To do so, we choose to use 95% of existing or temporary infrastructure And we only built a swimming pool, an aquatic center, which is built because it is very useful for the territory of Saint-Nicolas to Paris. So as you understand, we don't build a lot. We really use what is existing, and it helps us to reduce drastically our carbon print. We also want to promote economic growth, which is very important. And more precisely, we want the Games to create economical opportunities for all. In this respect, we place a great emphasis on integrating people, first from the labor market in France. And as an illustration, I can share with you one emblematic project, which is called From the Stadium to Employment. The idea here is to organize job datings with job seekers and recruiters who are practicing sports anonymously, and it breaks the ice between them. And during the afternoon, they declare who is a job seeker, who is an employer. But the atmosphere is very more open to discussion, and there is a better rate of employment after this kind of job dating than a classical job dating. So with that measure, we showcase the power of sports to reveal skills to find a job. Last but not least, I would like also to present our endowment fund, which serves all of these objectives. We created this fund in 2019, and the fund supports projects conducted by civil society organizations, which use sports to achieve a social and environmental impact. More than 1,000 projects have been financed already, and it benefits to more than 4.5 million people for a total of 47 million euros distributed. While most of these projects are specific to France, we also wanted to support global initiatives. That is why we launched an incubator for athletes entrepreneurs in collaboration with the French Development Agency. And this incubator enabled already 52 top athletes from 14 countries to carry out projects with social and environmental impact, including 32 projects in Africa. I will stop here. It was a great pleasure to present our strategy. It's a very large one, so it's a short presentation, but our action in terms of impact and legacy are very important for us, as you understand. As you can see, the Sustainable Development Goals are at the center of our project, and we hope this will help setting new standards for major sport events in the future all around the world. And I believe this is an ambition that we all share. And the last word, come to Paris this summer. You will see fantastic stories that can demonstrate that sport can change lives and contributes to the SDGs. Thank you very much.